Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be bringing you guys my updated Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon deck profile. Real quickly before I do get into the deck profile, I do want to say that I really appreciate all of you guys during all this time where I've been away. I am glad to announce that I am back, however there will be a few changes, including my upload schedule. I will be only uploading once a week until I can get to a point where I can get back to uploading twice a week like I usually do. But let's go ahead and jump right on into the deck profile. Alright, so of course starting off we do run 3 copies of Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon. Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon says that whenever this card attacks a defense position monster, you inflict double piercing damage. So therefore, if you actually can attack into a 0 defense monster, this does 8,000 points of damage all on its own, which is absolutely insane. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Blue Eyes Chaos Dragon. This card says that your opponent cannot target this card with card effects, also cannot be destroyed by your opponent's card effects. This card also says that if this card is ritual summoned using Blue Eyes White Dragon, when it declares an attack, you can change the battle position of as many monsters your opponent controls as possible, and if you do, the attack and defense of those changed monsters becomes 0. Also, this turn, if this card attacks a defense position monster, you can inflict piercing damage. So therefore that's 3,000 points of damage with this, or 8,000 with Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon, but if you can get both onto the field, you can easily just attack with this, inflict piercing after dropping all your opponent's monsters to 0, and then you just attack with Blue Eyes Chaos Max Dragon for game. And then of course, continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Blue Eyes White Dragon, just used as the ritual materials. Continue on, we do run 3 copies of Manju of the 10,000 Hands. This card just says that whenever it's normal or flip summoned, you can search for a ritual spell or ritual monster, which is just really good, especially because we do pair that with the incantations. We do run 3 copies of Incantation Candle. Candle just says that you can reveal 1 ritual spell in your hand to special summon this card from your hand, as well as any incantation from your deck. So of course you can special summon like your Talismandra or whatever. However, the candle also has the effect of if this card is special summoned from the deck, you can search out a copy of any of your ritual spells, which is absolutely insane, especially when you pair it with Talismandra, because Talismandra does the exact same thing as Candle, however it gets you to your ritual monsters. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Pinsy Plume. Pinsy Plume just says that whenever this card is special summoned from the deck, you can add a ritual monster from your graveyard to your hand. Of course, it does also have the reveal a ritual monster from your hand. Special summon this as well as any other monster from your deck. That is a incantation. But we also do run the 1 copy of Bookstone, which is the same thing as Pinsy Plume. However, it gets you your ritual spells. So these are mainly just in here for recursion. But honestly, you're more than likely going to only use them to special summon out your copy of Candle and Talismandra. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Chalice Slime. Chalice Slime is actually really good in this deck because this says that you can reveal this card in your hand, then discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon 1 incantation monster from your deck. However, this card also says that during the end phase, you lose 2,500 life points if you did not special summon a ritual monster the turn after this effect resolved. However, more than likely, if you're going to be able to use the Chalice Slime effect in hand to pitch anything else to get any of your monsters, really, like any of your incantations, then more than likely you're going to be able to ritual summon anyway. This card does also have an effect on field, even though more than likely you're not really going to go into this all that much. This just says that you can send 1 incantation card from your hand or face up on the field to the graveyard, and then target 1 monster your opponent controls and destroy it. Of course, when it comes to this card, you're mainly just going to use its in-hand effect because it's just really good for that matter. Continuing on, we do run 2 copies of Godarla. Godarla is mainly just in here so that way you can tribute off your opponent's negations and allow you to just continue your plays. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Chaos Form. Chaos Form is really good in the deck, being able to tribute, of course, monsters from your hand or field to be able to summon a ritual monster. However, if you are tributing a Blue Eyes or a Dark Magician, you can also use them by banishing from the graveyard, which is absolutely insane, so that way you can constantly just get out your rituals even if all of your Blue Eyes are engraved. Continuing on, I do run 3 copies of Advanced Ritual Art. Advanced Ritual Art is actually really good in this deck because the main rituals you're going into are all level 8. So Advanced Ritual Art says that you can send normal monsters from your deck to the graveyard whose total levels are equal to the level of that ritual monster. So technically, if you open 1 copy of Advanced Ritual Art and a Blue Eyes Chaos Max, you can just activate the advanced ritual art, sending your copy of Blue Eyes, and then just special summon out the Chaos Max, which is really cool with this deck. Honestly, if you don't feel like you want to run 3, you can just cut this down to 2 and then run a third copy of, or a third Kaiju, but really that's up to you. Continuing on, we do run 1 copy of Incantation Inception. This card is just a ritual card that can summon out any ritual monster, however, all of the materials must be Incantation monsters. But the main reason why we do run this card is because if this card is in your graveyard, you can send 1 Incantation card from your hand or field to the graveyard, except Incantation Inception, and special summon 1 Incantation monster from your deck, and then add this card from your graveyard to your hand. So therefore, this card, if it's in the graveyard, you can easily just send 1 Incantation card to special summon out any of your Incantation monsters, which is just really, really cool, and you can just add this card back to your hand, so you can keep looping this card technically if you really needed to. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Melody of Awakening Dragon. This card just says discard 1 card and then add up to 2 dragon monsters with 3,000 or more attack and 2,500 or less defense from your deck to your hand, which is all of our dragon monsters, because we have the Chaos Max, that's 3,000 and 0, 4,000 and 0, and then of course Blue Eyes matches the stats. So practically using the Melody of Awakening Dragon, you can search out any of these 3 cards, which is absolutely insane. Continuing on, we do run 3 copies of Xian Spy. Xian Spy just allows you to take one of your monsters and give it to your opponent, which is absolutely insane in this deck, because if you give them, for instance, any of your incantations, because they're all 0/0, if you have this in defense and you just give that to your opponent, if you can make Chaos Max Dragon, you can easily just attack into the Candle for game for, of course, the 8,000 points of damage with double piercing. So that's why we run the 3 copies of Xian Spy. Personally, I run 3 copies of Dark Hole and 1 Lightning Storm to help be able to clear out your opponent's field. Honestly, you can probably get away with running Book of Eclipse to be able to flip your opponent's monsters face down, which can also lead to some more kill potential. However, I just like the Dark Holes because it can even out the game, and if you draw into Xian Spy, you pretty much have game right there. Continuing on, I do run 1 copy of Change of Heart. Change of Heart, of course, just takes control of 1 monster your opponent controls until the end of the turn. The reason why we run this over something like Mind Control is because you can actually tribute the monster for the ritual summon. And then to wrap up the deck, we do run 1 copy of Called by the Grave to wrap up the main deck. So really, that's going to be about it. We don't really run an extra deck. You can run an extra deck, and if you do, I would probably cut the 3 Dark Holes for something like Pot of Extravagance, so that way you can just, because this deck does not use its extra deck pretty much whatsoever, because the incantations, while they're on field, they all lock you out of using the extra deck. So that's why we don't use the extra deck, but if you want to run 3 copies of Extravagance, for instance, you can easily do that and just run a bunch of random cards. But as I said, that's going to be about it for the video, guys. If you guys enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like. Comment down below what you guys think about this deck profile, as well as what you guys would do to make it even better. Be sure to check me out on Twitter. Link is in the description. But with that being said, guys, that's going to be about it. See ya.